Namaste, welcome everybody. This will be a practice designed to help boost your immunity. And so it's a really nice one to do throughout the fall and winter season, or really any time that you want to give your immune system a little bit of a boost. We're going to work through a couple poses in the beginning just to release tension through the legs, the hips, the shoulders. But then we will do a couple of inversions, and these inversions help boost our immunity by increasing circulation. They increase blood flow, and they're said to give a flush and a good rinse to our vital organs. And so for this practice, you'll want to have a blanket if possible, a block, and some wall space. And if you don't have a wall or you don't want to go upside down, that's okay. I'll give you an alternative to do instead. So once you get your props and get settled, we'll begin. I have been very inspired recently by a quote from young Pueblo, and he wrote that there is no mystery to the miracle of self-healing. It is courage, commitment, and consistency that moves us from misery to inner peace. And so in the way of our healing on every possible level of body, mind, and spirit, we offer this practice. Join your palms together at your heart center. Hold a healing prayer and a prayer for a big boost of vitality, of immunity, of radiance for your inner body. We'll open by singing one round of Om. Om. Give a little bow to your heart. Rest your hands. Lift your head and reach for a block. We're going to start lying down in a supported bridge pose. So come onto your back. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. And then you can slide your block on the lowest height or the medium height under your sacrum, the very base of your spine. Make sure it's not in the lumbar spine, but really that triangular base of the sacrum. Rest your palms up, press your shoulders back so that there's a boost of energy through your heart, and then gently draw your chin out of your chest. You're going to be here just for about a minute, and in this minute, really start to cultivate the relationship with your breath. Okay, so breathe deeply, breathe Ujjayi Pranayam, in and out through your nose, with a little tone to the back of your throat. Really helping the lungs to clear, drawing in the healing energy, the healing prana, the life force. Really savor your breath as you stretch it in both directions. Enjoy one more deep breath. And then lift your hips, remove your block, and just set it to the side. Right, bring your right knee into your chest. Stretch your left leg long to the ground. Supta Padangustasana. Hold the back of your right leg and stretch your foot up toward the ceiling. Give a little energy to your legs. Hug your muscles in towards your bones. Press your right thigh into your hands. Turn your bottom leg, your left leg, in a little and root it down to the ground. Couple deep breaths here, and practice stretching your awareness into any places that need a little bit of healing or a little bit of extra energy or boost, anywhere that feels shut down or tired or stiff or tight, really take your awareness there, take your breath there. Either hold behind the leg with just your right hand, or with your right hand reach up for your foot. I like to hold the baby toe, but you could also, the baby toe edge, but you could also hold your big toe. And take your leg on a diagonal over to the right side. Just a couple more breaths here, opening up in this way. Supta Padangustasana B. And then bring your leg all the way back up. Simply bend your right knee, lower your foot, and bring your left knee in. Hold the back of your left thigh, reach your leg to the sky, and touch your right leg all the way down to the ground. Just a couple supine poses. These are some of my favorite shapes to really open up in a clear way, in a safe way, the legs, the hips, and to really create that relationship to the breath. You can reach your left hand up behind the outer edge of the foot or to the outer leg. Start to open your left leg off to the side. Supta Padangustasana. Just a couple more breaths, really stretching from your pelvis long through both of your legs. One of the things that we need to really build our immunity is also just rest, and sometimes it's important to do more restful practices. Not always a big push, but really just being more internal, being more quiet and with the breath. And bring your left leg all the way back up. Bend your knee, bring both knees into your chest. You can rock up to sit or just roll to your side and make your way all the way up. And then please come into a child's pose. In this balasana, separate your knees a little bit. Bring your big toes together. Rest your hands back by your feet. So it's more of a seed form. With your head down and close to the earth, take 3 deep breaths into the back of your body. And now hold on to your heels if possible. Bring your knees closer together so you get a little bit more compressed. And now lift your hips, roll onto the top of your head into a rabbit pose. And then slowly bring your hips back down. Roll up all the way to sit on your heels and just give yourself a moment. There might be a little blood flow after the rabbit pose. Right, and then bring your fingertips to the ground behind you. Right, lift here through your heart, draw back through your shoulders. Get a little opening through the chest, right, moving the lungs forward so it's easier to air them out to receive the breath. Stay low or lift your hips away from your heels. And then slowly bring your hips back down and start to crawl your hands forward. Come into hands and knees into a table pose. Open your hands apart, shoulders width. Lift up through your heart and lift through your sitting bones. As you exhale, round your spine. Just a couple more like this. Inhale, lift your heart for spinal longevity and spinal fluidity. A couple spinal movements. Inhale, lift your heart, open up. Exhale again and round your spine. Just take 3 circles to the left with your hips. And then 3 big circles to the right. And then come back, tuck your toes, lift up through your hips and find downward facing dog. In your dog pose, lift your shoulder bones up. This action is important as we start to work toward a couple of inversions. Right, press your shoulder blades against the back of your rib cage. Really stabilize your breathing, deep and steady, in and out through your nose. And from here, reach your right leg to the sky. Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana. Right, bring your right shin forward for pigeon. Press to the outer part of your foot. Okay, clamp the back of your right knee so it's closed. Okay, lift up brightly through your heart and then slowly fold over your front shin. Okay, stay with your breath. Okay, low and close to the earth. Okay, notice where there's holding, where there's tension. Keep moving your awareness there. Move your breath there. And from here, walk yourself back up. Okay, sit over onto your right hip, swing your left leg around. We'll come into Agni Stambhasana. Really stack your left ankle above your knee, left knee above your right ankle. If there's a big gap between your knee and your foot, slide your block under your top knee so it has more support. Okay, flare your toes and then move the flesh of your bum back. Okay, lift long through your spine and start to fold over your legs. We're just taking a little time to breathe space into some areas that tend to be big holders of tension. As we release the tension in the body and the life force can flow with greater ease, this is another way that we just boost our health in general, our immunity. And now walk yourself back up. Right, swing your left leg all the way back where you started in a pigeon pose. Place your hands and step back into downward facing dog. Right, spike your heels up, tone your navel, come forward like a wave into plank pose. And then bend your knees and sweep your hips up and back to downward dog. 2 more big Shakti waves, just undulating the spine, increasing fluidity, mobility in the vertebra. And now reach your left leg up to the sky, Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana, and bring your left shin forward to pigeon. Press strongly through the outer edge of your foot. Reach your right leg long behind you in line with your right hip. And then inhale, sweep your heart up, open up to the breath, and exhale, fold over your front shin. Sit right in your own center. So try to sit in between the right and left side evenly. And then slowly walk yourself all the way back up. Lean to your left hip and bring your right leg around. Okay, start to stack your shins. So ankle to knee, knee to ankle. Again, use your block if you need to support your top knee. It's always good to turn your thighs in, move the flesh of your bum back so you have just a clear seat, and then lift through your spine, and as you exhale, fold again over your legs. And gently open your toes and keep your feet active, so you just have clear energy that moves in from the feet up into your knees, from your knees pull back into your hips. A couple of deep breaths. And then slowly walk yourself all the way back up. Right, bring your right leg around so you move through the pigeon. Right, place your hands and step back, downward facing dog. Right, really get a big lift up high through your hips, long through your spine. Right, and now walk your feet forward to your hands, find Uttanasana. Separate your feet apart, hips width. Activate your legs, hug your muscles to your bones. Fold deeply down over your legs. Right, bring your fingertips to the floor. Bend your elbows out to your sides, and then lift your shoulder bones up, the head of the arm bone up, and pull them into the sockets more. Okay, press your shoulder blade to the back of your heart. So we work these actions even as we fold forward. Okay, and this action of the shoulder is going to help to regulate a little bit the vagus nerve. This is important as we start to move into headstand and shoulder stand. Couple deep breaths, just getting used to having the head below the heart. And now bring your hands onto your hips. Lift your shoulders up away from the floor. Lift through your upper palate tip, curving your neck. Push into your feet and slowly rise up, keeping the natural curve in your neck. Take a nice wide stance, right, feet wide, take your arms wide, find Tadasana. Right, just calling in the power of our total vitality, radiance, health. Bring your arms back, clasp, take your right thumb over your left. Right, lift up through your chest, pull your shoulders back and the sides of your throat back, and then slowly fold in between your legs. Prasarita Padottanasana. Keep practicing the lift up of your shoulders. And with your feet parallel, push into your feet, gather energy from the feet, draw up through your legs, all the way up into your pelvis, and then press your thighs back and wide. You can just release your grip a little bit and change hands so that your left hand is on top of the right. Sweep your arms up and over. And then slowly bring your hands all the way down to the floor, fingertips down. Inhale, rise up halfway. And lift your throat so that you make a curve in your neck. Okay, exhale, fold all the way back in. This time, fingertips down. Again, bend your elbows wide, but lift your shoulders up and draw them into your back. And slowly walk to the front of your mat. Just pivot to your right foot. Place your hands, step all the way back to downward facing dog. Bring your knees down. Okay, and bring your elbows down to the ground. Right, line up your forearms so that they're parallel to each other. Keep your elbows, shoulders width apart, and then lift your hips up again into a dolphin pose. Right, keep your heels lifted in dolphin pose. Bend your knees a little bit. Lift up through your pelvis. Dolphin is a very good way to practice building the proper opening and strength for a headstand. So you might choose to take a couple rounds of dolphin, or bring your knees down, sit on your heels, and slowly come up to sit on your feet. We're going to come into Shirshasana, number 1, headstand, with the clasped hands, shoulders, elbows, shoulders width apart. So you can do this on a wall, and if you have never done this before, it's probably best to learn this in person with a skilled teacher if possible. But the most important thing is that you want to keep a natural curve in your neck. So we never want the big knobby vertebrae, I'm getting ahead of myself to shoulder stand. But in any case, we still want all of the vertebrae to move in rather than to be totally straight. So here we go. Bring your elbows down and clasp your fingers. Right, take your head in front of your hands and then press into your wrist bones, press into your elbows, lift your hips up. And start to walk in. Okay? And then I like to reach one leg high, stretch through the leg, just like we did lying on the back. And then slowly, with a lot of control, you can lift your other leg. You might have to use a little momentum, but it's ideal to not use momentum coming up into this pose. Right, press through your forearms. Right, lift your shoulder blades to the back of your ribs. Hug your legs strongly together. You might be on a wall or playing with a few rounds of a dolphin pose. Let's take 5 more breaths. And then when you're ready to come down, slowly activate your legs. You can bend your knees or you can kind of pike your legs. It takes a little bit more hamstring opening to do that. And then bring your feet down. Keep your head low, place your hands, and right away, keeping your head low, lift your hips and come into downward facing dog. And keeping it more active instead of child's pose is again a way to just balance the flow of the blood pressure to help the vagus nerve. Keep lifting up your shoulder bones and melt the back of your heart. And one more breath in downward facing dog. And then slowly, you can bring your knees down. Right, transition to come onto your back. Take a bridge pose. So come onto your back. Okay, and as you do, just like we did in the beginning, but this time we'll make it a more active bridge. Place your feet parallel, hips width apart. Okay, and this time bend your elbows, lift your hands up, and press your shoulder bones back. Using this kind of robot arm action to puff up your heart, just get a clearing to the front body. And now lift your hips, okay, reach underneath and clasp your hands, or reach and hold the edges of your mat. So what I was saying earlier, when I got ahead of myself, is for this pose here and for shoulder stand, we want the big knobby vertebra C7, cervical 7, to be off the floor, to draw into the body. And to make that happen, you have to really work your shoulders, pull your chin back, keep working the natural curve of your neck. Bridge pose, you can turn your thighs in and down, and then stretch your kneecaps away from you as you lift your heart up and back. And then relax your hands and bring your hips right down to the floor. Okay, we're going to move into a shoulder stand. So if you'd like to use props, you can take your blanket now and take the folded edge about a blanket's width away from the edge of your mat. And then take your mat and just go right on top of the blanket. Give yourself a nice padding. If you don't wish to do a shoulder stand, you could take your legs up the wall, the Burrito Karani, or you could take your block under your pelvis and from there take your legs up into the air. Okay, otherwise, let's come into Sarvangasana. Okay, bring your shoulders to support them so they're on the edge of the prop and your head is on the floor. And now you can see that helps to lift the C7 away from the ground. Shoulder stand is considered extremely important for the endocrine system, and it's one of the more healing asanas in the whole tradition. It's actually called the mother asana, the queen, because of its healing qualities. You draw your chin back, shoulders back, and now from here we'll start in a plow pose. So take your legs up and over. Hold your back so you have support. Strengthen your legs. It's hard to talk here, so I'll just be in my breath, you be in your breath. And then you can slowly reach your legs up one at a time into Sarvangasana. Okay, roll your thighs in toward each other. Keep really lifting and elevating your legs straight up. And draw your chin back out of your chest. Separate your feet a few inches apart and make circles with your ankles, just helping to increase the blood flow, the circulation. And then keeping your left leg up in the air, slowly reach your right foot all the way down behind you. Tap your big toe to the floor. Then slowly take your right leg all the way back up. Now take your left leg down, so it's one-legged, Eka Pada. Take it all the way to the ground behind you. And then slowly reach it back up. You can bend your knees and bring your feet to Baddha Konasana, soles of feet together, and really press into your feet to help flush the kidneys. And you could also, if it's available after the hip opening it might be, come into a lotus pose. Padmasana inside of shoulder stand. If you're in the Padma form, keep pressing your outer feet strongly to the thighs. And slowly take your legs back up. Right, feet all the way back over your head to plow. It's a big flush for your kidneys. Now bend your knees. Take your knees around the sides of your head, Karna Pidasana, or put your knees on your forehead. And slowly take your hands to the ground. Use your arms with control to help lower yourself down. And once you're down, bend your knees, set your feet down, just pause for a moment. Just feel the effects, the flow of blood, the flow of energy. And then without a lot of movement, you can come to your side just enough to remove your props. And allowing your back again. And bring your arms into a cactus shape. Right, draw both knees into your chest and take a twist, both knees over to the right side. Rest your left shoulder back. For this twist, keep your head and your neck neutral. After the inversions, it's good, just keep the neck neutral. And then bring your knees through the center. You might scoot your hips a little bit to the right, and now take both knees to your left. And keep drawing shoulders back, head and neck neutral. Come back to the center. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. You can sway from side to side. We'll take happy baby pose, our final shape before Shavasana. And press your sacrum down, just getting a little release here through the hips. And then regather your legs. Give yourself a big final squeeze. And stretch your legs out long. Set yourself up well for Shavasana. If your blanket is still nearby, you can take your folded blanket, either cover yourself with it, or just take your folded blanket right over your pelvis. And this brings more of a grounding quality, a grounding energy. Press your shoulders back a little bit to help boost your heart. Turn your palms up. Take a really nice deep breath in through your nose. And all the way out through your mouth. One more time. Take a big inhale. Hold the breath in at the very top. And let it out through your mouth. Now allow yourself to really rest. Allow your breath to flow freely. Rest is one of the key ingredients to building our immunity as well as creating healing. I'll leave you to rest. Thank you so much for your practice. Namaste.